Rufino.
And our special guest star, Michael Hathaway.
Head coach here at Levitt.
So, what do you think about the state championship game?
State championship game was awesome. Uh, having won a couple of them, I've got some experience there. This, by far my favorite one. It was a tight game. MCI certainly came to play, and so did we. Made some good adjustments during the game and pulled out the dub.
That's true. That is true. Who do you think had the biggest stepping up to do in order for us to win the state game?
Well, I don't think it's any one guy necessarily. We've always preached that, but certainly, Cam was a beast off the edge in that game. 4 sacks, had a big one on a 2-point conversion that was a humongous play at the time. Also was lead blocker on quite a few of Deshaun and Wyatt's runs. Had the big touchdown catch early in the game. So, big game for Cam. Big game for Deshaun, running for a $130 in a state game, a couple touchdowns, a couple conversions. Those last 2 drives were pretty epic, and Deshaun had some big runs there. And big game for Wyatt. Wyatt, threw the ball well, ran the ball well, gets the go-ahead touchdown on a 19-yard run late in the game to make it 30-24. And then, he's always begging me to play a little defense. And he gets the pick at the end of the game to seal it. And, pretty cool dad moment having your son get the pick and run over to you and give you a big hug knowing you just won the state championship. So
Both sons, too. You had Sawyer Hathaway and
yeah, Sawyer Hath on the field was sick all week, couldn't really practice. He was hurting. But he was out there, and per usual, had a couple suggestions during the game. He's probably the next Coach Hathaway in the family, and as usual, he was right on point.
Do you ever listen to his suggestions and run what he tells you to?
I do sometimes. He's pretty right. Even in the hoop game the other night, we were at Brunswick, and they were kind of overplaying our down screens a little bit. And he came over. He's like, "Dad, you got to tell Z to zipper cut one of those and get a rip ball screen." And we ran at the next play and scored. So yeah, got to listen to him. He knows what he's doing. It's in the blood.
He's a
In the
smart
blood.
kid. So, have you ever been accused of cheating?
Have I ever been accused of cheating? You mean like a la the Patriots?
Yeah.
Like, we've never actually videotaped anybody else's signals, so that has not happened. I do think there are times when people try to steal our signals. I think there may have been a little bit of that going on in the state game, where some of the MCI guys were looking over and trying to pick up what we were putting in there. But we've never done anything like that. We have been accused a time or two when we were in the old Pine Tree Conference North days when we would go up to the Bangor area. They would accuse us of not having enough air in the ball. So I actually had a guy one time, he put a pressure gauge in the ball to check it. It was the year after he had told us that there wasn't enough in there. We had him again. And when he put the gauge in the ball, he popped it.
Jeez.
Popped the bladder inside. So I asked him for his paycheck. And he's like, "What are you talking about?" I'm like, "Dude, that's like a $76 football you just popped. Like, you need to give me your game check." He didn't. But they haven't checked it since when we go up there, so that's a good thing.
True.
Let me ask you guys, favorite moment of the state game. Rufino, what was it for you? What was the thing you'll remember the most about that game? Other than, winning and the post-game celebration, what during the game was your most memorable?
Probably Camden's touchdown. That was pretty big. Kind of put some life back into us, and
Oh, yeah.
it was like a big moment.
Yeah. K-Brawl, what about you?
I got to say, when Riley laid out that kid on that punt return and got that fumble, that was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, big game for Riley, too. A lot of those runs at the end of the game, he was the pulling guard. He was, I don't think number 18 for MCI was real happy to be seeing Riley in his face
Definitely not.
over and over like that. And then a funny moment I thought after the game was the TV guys who were on the field filming the celebration thought that Riley was overcome with emotion and like crying with his head on the, kind of laying on the turf there. And in reality, he had pulled and led blocks so many times that he was so tired he was throwing up when the game was over. So the camera's like right down in his face, with a picture of him vomiting. So that was nice. TT, what about you?
My favorite moment was Wyatt's pick at the end of the game, just knowing that we sealed it and won the state game. That was an awesome feeling.
That was nice.
Yeah, it's quite a feeling when you when you've worked and put that much time in over the course of a whole season like that. It really goes back to June for us when
Yeah,
we start,
exactly.
weight room and 7-on-7 back then, and
Oh, yeah.
you put that much time in, and then you finally get that that win. That's a pretty cool feeling.
It
So.
is. All your hard work's paying off right there.
We got to give a shout out to Spuggy, too. That kid had a good game, too.
Yeah.
They did.
Jack Utah did too.
76ers.
Yeah, Jake Spignardi. We had him matched up with their best offensive lineman, Harrison Seitz, there, 79, and in the second half, we were shutting it down, the run on that side. In the second half, they put Seitz on the other side, away from Spugs, because Spugs was just doing his Spug thing, dominating the line of scrimmage, and so we swapped Spugs back over when we saw it, and then they were, we had him. At that point, they really couldn't run the ball. Although that big kid did truck Peabody and Keegs pretty good on a couple of runs.
Yeah.
I don't know if Peabody got that license plate number of that Mack truck on the way by, but he should have. How about during the season? Favorite moment from during the season, Beans? What do you got?
Definitely Stoney catching that punt. That was pretty good. Or Spugs breaking that chair during pasta. That was pretty funny. Spugs is just a funny
Stoney
guy.
catching the punt's a good one because we do that in the preseason. We'd stick a couple linemen out there and they get 3 punts, and if they catch 2 of them, we get out of conditioning that day. So that was, for Stoney to get us out of conditioning by catching a punt. That's a pretty cool thing.
Yeah, he came up clutch.
What about you, K-Bro?
I got to say, we were in the locker room one time, and DT brought in a skateboard just into the locker room. And Brent Grant's like, give me that skateboard. Kid tries to do a kickflip and just falls right on his butt and almost breaks it. It was the funniest thing I've ever
So
seen.
I'll give you a quick skateboard story. So my first year here in 2002, I was teaching over at Oak Hill, but coaching over here. So I'd have to drive over after school. We'd start practice like around 3:15. And back then, skateboarding was like really like everybody was doing it. And they had actually so many people were using like the stairs and some of the rails around the school that they had to ban skateboarding at the school, right? Mr. Gentera might remember this. So there was no skateboarding, right? So we have that bench outside the locker room where you guys can put your cleats on or whatever, one of those old green benches. So I had gone in the locker room and all the kids were out at the field with the other coaches, and some kids who were just hanging around after school had set that bench up outside of our locker room, and they were, doing some sort of skateboarding move off from it. So I open the door of the locker room, and as I do, there's a guy doing that move on the bench, and he wipes out and literally runs right into my chest and knocks me over. Him and the skateboard, big pile on the ground. And I had a little bit more of a temper back then than I do now. I'm not, I wasn't quite as laid back. So my response was to pick up the skateboard and whack it against the corner of the building until it broke in half. Right? So they grab their broken skateboard and a couple other kids, and they take off and start running. So I don't think much of it. I head out to practice. We're telling a funny story at practice of how I just broke some kid's skateboard. And then the cops show up. So I'm thinking, like, I'm about to get in trouble, for giving the skateboarders a hard time. And so the cop comes over to practice and asks for me, and I go over there. And he's like, you see any kids skateboarding around here? And I'm like, yeah, I kind of, I might have broken one of their skateboards. And he's like, well, we just had a report of some kids skateboarding around school, and we know we banned it, so we're looking for them. And I'm like, I think they were down at the middle school now. So I skated free on that one, so to speak. But that was a good one. How about you, DT? Best moment of the year? What do you got?
I don't know. That's tough. There's so many. Mine has to be the Stoney punt catching.
The Stoney punt
That was just
catching.
so iconic. And Camden ripping his shirt off at the end.
Yeah, Camden ripped Stoney's shirt right off from him.
Big moment in Stoney's career.
No, that was a good one. So let's go back to the cheating thing. Obviously, we'll kind of transfer over to some Patriots talk here. What do we think about, what's the reaction to the accusation that, there might be a Spygate 2.0 going on here? What do we think about that?
Lies.
Straight up
Straight up
lies.
lies.
Straight up lies. They're just trying to get down on us. Big Pats fan. Been a Pats fan since I was probably born.
Pats are just
Yeah.
underwhelming this year.
Being shaking the head over there. Who do you root for, Rufino?
I'm rooting for the Saints. of
Rooting for the
course.
Saints.
My God.
Well, here's the thing. Watching the Saints 49ers game on Sunday, and then I watched the Patriots game, is so underwhelming. The offenses were just so different. Patriots were just running trick plays, score touchdowns.
So do you think the Patriots were cheating?
No.
No, you don't?
Nope.
All right. And do you think that because, as a Saints fan, the Saints also were somewhat cheating? Because I don't know if you remember Bountygate, but they were paying players to hurt players from the other team. That seems as though it's slightly unethical,
We're just not going to talk about that.
We're not going to talk about
No
that.
comment.
No comment
No
on that.
comment.
No comment on that.
It has been rough for the Saints ever since that pass interference call.
That's true. In the
NFC Championship.
yeah, that was a
pretty bad.
heartbreaker.
I actually saw a cool thing. It was a YouTube thing. I can't remember. It's a guy that does all these interviews, and he flew on a plane somewhere with Sean Payton and interviewed him and asked him about several things over the course of the interview. And one of the things they talked about was what did Payton do with his time off because he was suspended for a season during Bountygate. So do you know what he did? He coached high school football that year. So whatever high school his son was going to, he helped coach the team.
Huh.
And
That's cool.
to get ideas on how to defend some things, because in high school it's a little bit different than the NFL. There was a team running single wing, and he called Parcells and asked him how to defend the single wing, and they're trading back and forth ideas. So here's these two NFL guys prepping up a high school team for that. So that was pretty cool. What about you, DT? What's your take on the Pats?
I don't think they cheated.
No, are you a Pats guy as well?
No,
I'm a Pats guy. Not a Pats guy. but
Steelers guy, but
Steelers guy. That's unfortunate.
yeah, kind of is. But
Quarterback doesn't have a head anymore.
no, not really. Got decapitated, but no, I don't think they actually cheated. I just feel like we want the reign of the Patriots to end.
All
They've
right.
been good for too long.
So we feel like in general, when Belichick says he has no knowledge of what's going on, we believe him.
Yeah.
Yeah, you think so?
That's
All right.
What do you think?
Gentera seems a little skeptical. I'm a Pats fan, but I don't think there's anything that Belichick doesn't have knowledge of.
That's true.
Like if
Smart
there's
guy.
0.2 psi less pressure in the football, I think Belichick knows that.
Oh no, Deflategate was definitely a thing.
Yeah,
we
I
definitely
believe
cheated.
Deflategate, but
Really, I'm less inclined to believe that than this.
Really?
Yeah, cold weather,
Yeah,
less pressure on the
okay.
ball. They
I
use
get you.
about 30-something balls a football game. Like you think, I don't know.
that's true.
It was only like a 4-game ban though.
Do you guys know who the deflator is on our team?
Who?
Wyatt. That would be my
Who
guess.
deflates the balls to take a little air out of them, like the kicking ball? Like you take. I don't know if I should be saying this on air, right? Well, it's got to be legal because it's Jim Thies, right? He's a cop, so if a
Yeah,
cop's doing
exactly.
it, like
It
that's,
has to be.
if a cop's doing it, it makes it okay, right?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
perfectly
That's
fine.
legit.
Jim Thies.
Thies.
It was only for pregame. We didn't use them in actual games.
Hoop. Want to talk about Hoop a little bit? We had a good game the other night at Freiburg. Ian and Cabral producing the game the other night, right? First production for
It
you.
was fun, yeah.
Good time. DT was in the booth.
DT
You and
on the
Davis
mic.
having some fun.
Commentating.
Little
Yes, sir.
hashtag buzz.
Hashtag buzz buzz.
Beans, were you in the crowd? Were
I
you in
was
the
in
swarm?
the crowd, yeah.
Whooping it up. The swarm was pretty loud the other night.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We
big
were
win.
getting into it.
When,
What? Go ahead.
When that, I don't know his name, that cop guy came down and got like the whole crowd into it.
Oh, Cliff.
Yeah.
Marcus.
Yeah,
Reddick.
yeah, yeah.
Right. So Marcus
Yeah.
used to play O-line here back in the day. He was on that 02 team
Oh, really?
that I coached. Yep.
That was awesome.
Yeah, Marcus is a state trooper. So he came down and whooped up the crowd a little bit. I
Yeah,
heard.
it was like
Oh, yeah.
quiet in the
He was-
headset, and then he came down, and then my ears just started ringing because the headset just was blasting my ears.
Awesome. It definitely was loud at the end of the game.
Yeah,
Oh,
dude,
yeah.
for sure.
Fourth
It was a
quarter?
good game.
Fourth quarter, we
crazy.
came out in that full court man pressure, and they started turning it over, and the game got pretty up and down. And
Keegs had a few big defensive hustle plays.
yes, he did. He was locking down Armel from Freiburg too. Did a nice job on him in that game. Freiburg was big, huh?
They were big.
Yeah,
Some big dudes.
40 freshmen.
Yeah, 40
6'8".
freshmen, 6'8", lefty.
Jeez.
Then they had the 6'8" German. He didn't play much, but he's a pretty big dude. And,
He looks so much more athletic than 42. I'm surprised
yeah,
he didn't play more.
yeah. I think I'm not sure he has as much basketball experience.
Oh,
but,
true.
and then Eli Mahan, who we know from football, is
Yeah.
a stud defensive tackle for them. Good, pretty good hoop player too. But a little foul trouble out there. Kind of
Yeah, I thought
still,
Cole did a
still.
pretty good job against him.
Yeah, he did do a pretty good job against them. Cole had a lot of blocks too.
Yeah.
Unfortunate when he blocked it right to their best shooter at the end of the game.
Yeah,
The
that
kid
was.
knocks down a three.
that
That
was-
kind of was a little unlucky, but
Yeah.
pretty good game. Wyatt with 24, Z
Yeah.
with 16. Sawyer gets his first varsity point ever.
Really?
Right? Yeah, got his first point. Came in, knocked down a free throw, and then in the locker room, LaRoche came in to congratulate the guys, and he's like, "Hey, Sawyer, congrats, first varsity point." Sawyer, 999 to go. That's 333 threes. No. And Sawyer, did you see the end of the JV game?
Yeah, when he tossed it up and got it lost in the ceiling.
Yeah, so he's trying to kill the time, so he throws the ball straight up in the air to run the clock out, and it gets caught in the rafters.
And then he got another one stuck, right?
Yeah,
Right,
and then
trying
they
to get
got-
it down.
yeah.
There's another one up there. That's pretty good.
The Freiburg JV coach did not look happy about that.
He did not look happy about that. You're
No.
right.
He disagreed with
You're right.
getting the ball stuck in the ceiling to waste
It's always
less
good
than
to
5 seconds.
to tick off the opposing coach a little bit, right?
Yeah,
You know?
exactly.
Don't want to go full Coach Ath mode and start yelling down the sideline like I did last year a couple times. But, I'm trying to back off that this year.
So how did the Brunswick game go?
Brunswick-
I didn't go to that one.
Brunswick game was good. Road game, a tough one. Brunswick's always a tough place to get a win. Coach Hansen, coaching up there. Coach Todd Hansen, he's the man. Played at Maine back in the day. Was a Waterville guy on some of their great teams back then. And I didn't know at the time, but he was going for his 300th victory. So I'm happy to, I hope Coach Hansen sees this, happy to be the one that didn't allow you to get it, but super glad you got it against Yarmouth the other night. But good game. Wyatt 21, Cole 20, Z 16, solid performances. Ian Redstone came off the bench, had a couple big rebounds, played pretty well. Ben Searoy's good game off the bench as well. And T-Boss getting his first start.
I saw that.
He's been rolling in there with Hunter Hayes out of the lineup, hoping to get Hunter back in January. But good opening night win, so happy to be 2-0.
Yeah,
True.
undefeated.
So when are you expecting Hunter back?
Should be sometime around January.
I'm excited to see how he'll do coming off that big injury.
Yeah, I think he'll do well. Hunt, he plays with a lot of emotion. He'll get right after it. So.
Yeah, true. A lot of heart.
I think we're running out of time, man. I think we got to wind this thing down a little bit. What final thoughts?
Ooh, I don't know. You want to start?
I don't have any.
No final thoughts. How about advice? This is the morning buzz. Advice for everybody for the day, Beans. Just a sentence of advice. What do we got?
Drink your coffee.
Drink your coffee.
Well,
What about you, K-Ball?
I don't know. Make sure you eat. Make sure you get some water in you. Stay hydrated.
Yep, eat a big breakfast.
I will echo the Coach Gray's usual statement in preseason. Breakfast, most important meal of the day.
Oh, yeah.
That's
Oh,
good.
yeah.
All right, sign this thing off, DT.
All right, see you guys. Thanks for watching The Morning Buzz.
Oh, yeah. See you next time.